I am Setsuna. Congratulations, we just found out how they named the game. Welcome everybody to Otterfox Productions review of I Am Setsuna. We plan on reviewing a few different items today. We're going to introduce the music, the graphics, the controls, and the gameplay. Each one will dive into one for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll continue on, move to the others. Alright, let's get into music. All of the music seems to be done by piano for this game, which once again, cheaper than most. You know, you don't have a full symphony behind you. It is beautiful piano music. It's great for what it is. But it comes down to, once again, we're paying $40 for this game. How much effort is being put into it? I can't help but keep bringing this up. But the music that is in there is exactly what I want from a Squaresoft game, right? It is beautiful, melodic music. And it even has its moments where, you know, boss battle, you know, it's where it gets in a little bit more hardcore kind of thing and whatnot. And then music changes, the boss battle's done. And here I've got a few clips for you. Listen to some of this for about the next minute or so. So, from what I've seen, it doesn't really matter which choices you pick, which, in nowadays, it's kind of disappointing. It's much more, you're able to get into the game a little bit more, I think, when your choices actually matter. Not that they technically matter, but they do, right? To be able to get a different storyline, just a little bit different storyline from your choices, makes it a little bit more involving. Did I say that I like the piano music? And anybody who listens to that like last 4 or 5 notes and can't tell me that they don't instantly see or hear Chrono Trigger, you probably haven't played Chrono Trigger enough. There's Square Enix little stamp on it. So it slapped me. We've got a, I'm offended, 3D-ish environment that's giving us depth of snow. You can see us like walking through snow, and you crunch down the snow. And as you're walking around, it still snowfalls, so the snow builds back up a little bit and whatnot. It's very interactive bit of graphics there. You can see snow falling from the trees on occasion. You can see their feet walking on the ground. I've got a clip later on about that, which is very weird. Feet, question mark. I mean, there's some really good graphics to this game. But on the same aspect, it just feels like, for $40, what are we doing here? I guess I pose the question to all of you. Do you think that these are the kind of graphics that we deserve for $40? I know it's been out for a while now, and now you can probably get it for a Steam sale for like, you know, 10, 15 bucks. But when they originally brought it out for $40, do manufacturers just bring out games at $40 just because they want to see who's going to buy it for $40, and then just if it gets bought for $15 later on, we're not too concerned because we didn't put too much money into it? I guess that begs the question of, you know, the money aspect. But I don't want to get too deep into that. We're here to talk about the graphics, right? I've got a few clips to show you guys, give you some examples, some of the graphics, and how good or bad they may be. I felt like they were kind of boxy for being a 3D game per se. I mean, these are like, they're not as bad as Final Fantasy VII, but it's reminiscent to me. They've got some smooth characters per se, and you can see the weapons change. When Setsuna changes her weapon, you can see her little halo change to a different kind of weapon. And, you know, that's good stuff, but I felt like that maybe they could have gone a little bit farther than that. Oh, and if you're wondering like me, no, their feet are not in the ground. Their feet are little pegs, and they're just kind of walking around on pegs. I thought their feet were actually glitched into the ground at first, and it was really annoying, but I guess that was just me. No, they're just standing on pegs. They don't really have feet. Oh wait, whoa, 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 whoa! What did I just find? Is there something to oh, you're, that's cruel. 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 Is there something to find in all this snow? Or is it just snow for the snow of it? So starting in on controls, we've got plenty of time to talk about this. As you notice, the few clips are of options, right? You have option 1 or option 2. And those are very... So I don't know what funeral there, but staying anywhere and waiting for help usually doesn't work. They're very non-situational. They're or not situational. They're very basic questions. You get option yes or no, and regardless which, the storyline's going to go in the right path, which is kind of good. So it's not really letting you develop your own choice. It's just kind of giving you mock choices. Some of the controls, battle encounters, right? You get the ATB. I don't know if anybody's ever used this before. Anybody that's played Chrono Trigger, obviously, or most Final Fantasies. You get the active time battle. These are very much the core and heart and soul of a lot of Square games, and it gives flow to the battle that makes sure that everybody gets a chance, kind of thing, right? There's a lot more of them from before. There's 2. It's a trick. There's 2 of them. Who said that? I said I don't need them. Forcing some of the options on you many a times. Momentum mode. This is one of the key things that they decided to add to the game, right? So it allows you to, if you time the button right, you get an extra bit of attack, or you get an extra bit of heal, or you get an extra effect. So like you can heal and remove status ailments on some of the spells depending on if you time it right. Well, how it builds up is that little bubble that looks like a snowflake next to your character. Over time, or when you attack or when you get hit, it will charge up to 3 times. And for every one of those charges, you can hit a momentum mode and make it act. Later on, you get to add stuff to that momentum mode that makes it do even more stuff, depending on how you equip it to your equipment, which almost gives it that Final Fantasy VII feel of, depending on what equipment you have next to each other, you know, it affects each other. Well, this is more just what you have on can start building up on top of each other and giving each other effects. So it's very much an interesting way to build on top of each other, trying to give you that Final Fantasy Tactics depth, I guess. But fluctuations are those little extra things I mentioned that allow you to add on to other things. So the Magic Consortium is where you end up selling all of your items. When you sell those items, you sell enough of them and you can then make Spironite, I guess, or he'll exchange it for Spironite, right? So if you get enough of these items, I'll give you 1 Spironite of this type, or if you sell these items, I'll give you 1 of this Spironite. And it's almost like a crafting mechanic, except you're technically not crafting them. This also gives you the money you need to then buy better items, buy better accessories, buy upgrade materials for your weapons, and that's about it. It gives a different kind of depth that goes in a different direction that most games haven't gone in. But that's because they have a bigger overall depth, I think, instead of just focusing on kind of a one thing. I think there's plenty of good content there and ability, but I kind of felt like they, once again, could have done more. There could have been more options. Could have been a bigger depth to the game. I kind of wonder how long it took them to do some of this, and maybe if they concentrate a little too much on it, and that's why they didn't get to other things. The biggest tedium about this whole thing is the fact that you have to individually go in for each type of item and say, I want to sell this item, and then I want to sell this item, and then I want to sell this item. Well, how many of that item? Well, I want to sell this item. Well, how many of that item? And I want to sell this item. And how many of that item? And right now, at the beginning of the game, you don't know if you're going to need any of these items for later on or not. So like I've got 14 Mystic Crests. Great. Do I need to sell all those? Do I need more to keep on me for something else? Or should I just sell them all right now? Is it just all material to give me more money? I don't know. Nobody's told me anything about it. So maybe they should give some kind of direction, like this is useless or this is valuable. It gives you this option. Do you want to exit? Exit what? Exit the menu? Exit the save? Exit the start menu? Exit the program? Maybe you should add a little definition here. This quits the entire game without saving. Just when it comes to gameplay, I love the combat system mainly because it's pretty much straight out of Chrono Trigger, right? It allows you to take this character and this character and combine a move, and bam, you can do, you know, this big, better move, whatnot, something more awesome. And they're very powerful. Sometimes they take a lot of extra MP, but they do extra things, and it gives you something flashy, you know, it's cool. Chrono Trigger did a great job at it in that you needed to learn these moves after having been in a battle with each other. This one kind of cuts out that portion and says, hey, if you have this move and you have this move, bam, here you go, here's the move, have fun. So is that a benefit? Is that a better thing, or is it a worse thing? I think it's kind of better to discover the moves after you've been in a battle once or twice. I don't know, something about that seems to make sense, right? Is it critical? No, I don't think it necessarily takes anything away from the game. As far as tempo, this is the subject me and Gio have had a few talks about. What is the tempo of the game? Is it a fast tempo game? Is it a slow tempo game? I think pretty much any RPG is going to be slow tempo. And the story, I think, keeps it interesting enough to tease you along, to keep you going. The storyline for the second major town is, I think, extremely interesting. I had a lot of fun trying to guess what it was going to be, because I like to try and do that, figure it out before they tell you. So the one thing about gameplay, it's great to be able to use the keyboard. I think it was intuitive enough. With the environment, I love the way that it's a kind of dark and moody environment with the snow. I think it blends together beautifully to try and keep the atmosphere of the storyline where it needs to be. In and of itself, the storyline being very much sounds like a Final Fantasy X copy, or I mean, in its main concept, right? I think they, once again, what were they shooting for, and did they just fall back on something, or is this what they really intended? When it comes down to it, a lot of it is great content. A lot of it feels like it was a copy from something else, like they borrowed from something else. Is that necessarily bad? No, I mean, art is life imitates art, and art imitates life. There's always copying done throughout life, but how much copying can you really do to keep it unique before it just becomes a copy of something else? I mean, just because it's copying from multiple sources doesn't in itself make it unique. It just makes it a copy of several different things. Luckily enough, I think they kept the storyline unique enough that it'll be interesting to play. Do I think it's worth $40? No, I don't. Do I think it's worth $10? I think that's something you might have to decide for yourself. But I'm enjoying the game so far. It's been there have been some good laughs, and I will give you the next few moments of some highlights from my gameplay. But other than that, we will see you later in the next game. Bye. It slapped me. I'm offended. There's a lot more of them from before. There's 2. It's a trick. There's 2 of them. Wait, What? But apparently I'm off to do so. So, from what I've seen, it doesn't really matter which choices you pick, which, in nowadays, it's kind of disappointing. It's much more, you're able to get into the game a little bit more, I think, when your choices actually matter. Not that they technically matter, but they do, right? To be able to get a different storyline, just a little bit different storyline from your choices, makes it a little bit more involving. Did I say that I like the piano music? There's Square Enix little stamp on it. Or your mask, rather. I love it. I haven't seen your face around here. Well, that mask-ish. Yeah, that. Notice there's another box. But it's locked. No, I have not. You notice they keep saying, hey, have you seen the monument? Would you like to see the monument? Hey, the monument's right over there. Monument? Monument. 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 Can you guess where I need to go? Yep. I am Setsuna. Congratulations, we just found out how they named the game. You've got a guillotine? Who does that nowadays? We don't have a guillotine. Exactly. Music changed. Boss fight over. I know we never stand a chance. Would be this strong. Yeah, on second thought, I'm just gonna take a nap.